Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Destiny 2. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations. Today, reskinning is bad. Let's get to it. So PAX West has wrapped up, and out of that, we've learned a few new things about the new exotics that are coming into Shadowkeep, but we have also learned about the new raid armor coming out of Shadowkeep. And as a result of that, people are comparing it to the Eververse armor from the Curse of Osiris, saying that it is essentially the same armor, only a reskin. Now, this has upset a lot of people because of the pinnacle activity. A raid should not have something that is a reskin of another piece of armor from a previous DLC. And I can understand if you paid real money, silver, to get Engrams, to get that Curse of Osiris armor, and now you're going to be able to earn it from the raid, and it looks exactly the same or very similar, then yes, I can see why you would be upset. But that is really the only case where you should be upset. And this is why I say it. How many different sets of armor have there been just in the Destiny 2 franchise? So just looking at year 1, year 2, all the different activities, all the different armor that you can gain, that you can earn, there's a lot. Additionally, let me ask you a serious question. How many different sets of armor do you have right now? And that is in your inventory and in your vault. And of those sets, how many of them do you actively use on a weekly basis? If the answer to either of those two is less than 20, then you're using less than half of the total number of armor that is available, even looking at just year 2. And of course, actively using during a week, I don't know that there's anyone that uses a particular set of armor weekly. Possibly, but not real likely. Usually you look at the stats on it and you grab the perks that you want for whatever you're doing. So you have a set for your PvP that has shotgun perks or fusion rifle or sniper rifle perks on it. Doing PvE, you're looking for machine gun perks or rocket launcher perks, what have you. And it's a mishmash of different sets, not all of one set. And you might be saying that if I had a full set with the perks that I wanted, then I would use the set. And Shadowkeep with Armor 2.0 is going to address some of those concerns, because all of the armor is going to be more or less a blank slate, and you can slot the perks that you want into the armor to make it your armor at the time that you need it. Now, having said that, the Armor 2.0 will have a varied amount of total points in the 6 traits. Of course, I'm talking about mobility, resilience, recovery, intellect, strength, and discipline, because those vary from drop to drop even within the same armor set, and certain sets are likely to have a higher gainable point total than other sets. You're more likely to see people running the same set or types of sets in Shadowkeep because you're going to get more points out of certain sets, like the pinnacle activities, the Iron Banner, the Raid, the Nightfalls. And reskinning isn't necessarily a bad thing. If they can change it enough to make it look a little bit different, then what's the harm in it? It could potentially save them a little bit of time and resources that they could be spending in other areas that are needed. Changes to Crucible, let's say, or working into more depth and detail into new areas. So if reskinning is your biggest gripe, then maybe get a grip, because with all the changes that are coming, the reskinning is really the least of your worries. With the changes that have already come and are going to be coming to Eververse, I would think that would take precedence over reskinning. And the moon is going to be at least 50% old content. If you've played Destiny 1, you were able to go to the moon relatively early in your progression. You were in the Cosmodrome on Earth, and then you went to the moon. So within about an hour, you were able to go to the moon. Now we're going back to the moon, and a lot of those areas are going to look very familiar, even with additions. So if you're worried about reskinning, then they've successfully directed your attention in the wrong direction. So they're saying, look at my left hand, I'm reskinning don't look at my right hand where we're making changes to microtransactions, Eververse, and of course, old content or remastered content making a return. All right, so what am I talking about? The moon from the original Destiny 1 was what it was. Now it's returning, and about 50%, according to the developers, we haven't seen and we haven't been able to experience, obviously, the moon, so we can't say exactly how much looks familiar, how much is exactly the same, and how much is different. So there's that part. And then the other part is Eververse. Now, just going from the previous season to the current season, Season of Opulence, you had changes to Eververse. Instead of getting the current season of Engrams, you got the best of year 1 Engrams. And as I've said before, and I'll say again, that's really great for people that didn't play year 1, that are new players coming into year 2. They can see some of the stuff that came out of year 1. So you can get some of that old content, old items from Eververse from year 1 and get it now. The problem, of course, is that you can't get the current season without spending Bright Dust or Silver. And that may not be a huge problem currently because you can take those engrams, the old stuff, and break it down, get the Bright Dust, and then spend that Bright Dust on the current season items. Now, of course, that is all going to change in Shadowkeep, the Season of Undying. The biggest change in Eververse is going to be anything you get from Bright Engrams will not dismantle into Bright Dust. It will dismantle into either Glimmer or Legendary Shards. So you'll no longer be able to get new items by breaking down items that you already have. Items that you have already earned or lucked out getting from Eververse, you can get those again only using either Glimmer and or Legendary Shards. So things that are already in your collection, you can get again in the Season of Opulence. You have to pay Bright Dust. Season of Undying, that is going to change. You'll just need Glimmer and Legendary Shards. Now let's take this a step further. Eververse, let's say, just as an example, that you no longer earn Bright Engrams. Currently, every time you level up and every week you get triple experience for that first 3 levels, you get a Bright Engram. Let's say Season of Undying, that is no longer the case. Every time you level up your seasonal artifact, but you no longer get Bright Engrams when you level up. The only way to get Bright Engrams are either to buy them with Silver and or Bright Dust, or you get a couple of Bright Engrams while using the season ranking pass or battle pass or whatever you want to call it. So when you hit certain levels, you get a couple engrams. Certainly not the same number that you would get over the course of one season in year 1 or year 2. And of course, that makes getting those Eververse items much, much more difficult to get. You either have to open your wallet and get the silver to buy them, or earn the Bright Dust to buy them with Bright Dust. Now, if under the current scope of Eververse, Bright Dust items are only available weekly, and there is a small selection. If that continues, if there's an item that you want, you have to save up your Bright Dust in order to buy it. And without knowing what is available or what will be available in any given season, it will be difficult to say what item is going to pop up in what week and how much Bright Dust you'll need. Additionally, earning Bright Dust is going to be very, very different. Like I said previously, currently you can dismantle Eververse items and get Bright Dust. You will no longer be able to do that in the Season of Undying. There will be challenges tied to earning Bright Dust, and it sounds like doing the playlist activities, the weekly challenges for Crucible, Vanguard, and Gambit, and possibly the Nightmare Hunts. Those weekly challenges will earn you some Bright Dust. How much Bright Dust? We don't know, but I will guarantee you it will be a pittance, a small percentage of what you can currently earn from grinding down those Eververse items currently. All the exotic pieces that you get out of Eververse are worth 500 when you break them down. All the legendaries are 100, shaders are 10. So in any given Bright Dust currently, you have a chance, let's say 10% chance of getting some exotic item, a sparrow, a ghost shell, a ship, whatever. that will net you 500 bright dust. You will get either that or you'll get a purple. So you might get a purple ship or sparrow or piece of armor. And of course that's 100. So we'll split the difference and we'll say each engram that you get will be about 220. Now you get 3 or more per week because you get the triple experience at the beginning. So the first 3 levels are basically guaranteed. And depending on whether you play 1 character or 3 characters, you could be earning 9, 20, let's say up to 20 engrams, and at, let's say, average of 10 engrams per player. So you can earn 20 or even more engrams if you're playing on 3 characters with a triple experience. That would give you 9 easily. And then you could get, if you play often and a lot, you could get more. I would say 20, 25 is probably the max if you're playing an excessive amount. And then 9 at the least if you're playing 1 character a lot or 3 characters, getting those triple experience. So let's say you get 10 engrams at 220 per engram. If you're grinding everything down, you're looking at about 2,200 bright dust per week. Season of Undying, I'm going to say, even playing 3 characters, you're going to get about 600. I'm going to say you're going to get 100 per playlist activity challenge. Perhaps it'll be more. Let's say it's 200. So 2 is 4, so 800. Let's say you get 800 for all 4 activities, weekly challenges. So strikes, crucible, gambit, nightmare hunts. You get that done, you get 800 bright dust. So that is a far cry from the 2,000 on average that you could get currently. And of course, you could potentially get more depending on how lucky you are with drops. And it sounds like you will also be able to do Eververse bounties, kind of like what you do currently. So in the end, what I'm really saying is don't focus too much on reskins because that is really a minor part of what's going on. As long as the armor that you can earn is not very trashy looking and the armor that you can buy doesn't look too awesome, I don't see a problem. Focus instead on the other issues that are changing, and I'm not saying that Bungie shouldn't be allowed to make money off of their game. I certainly think that they should be able to do so. If players enjoy playing, then why not? The problem becomes how much incentive there is for monetization versus rewarding players for playing the game. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.